Can't get rid of me, I run the underground like a fucking marathon. I go to sleep in the hard head to the job done. These niggas only put in work when it seem fun. But to be a boss, you gotta have boss growth some. Why should I stunt hard for a bunch of fronters when most of y'all never seen money? Stevie Wonder, to fix the mesh I made, I'ma need more than a plunger. And
making whole scene is sinking. Big dog, about to bring the motherfucking pain. Lock it in, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in.
Y'all ready? We're gonna hop into it. It's gonna happen fast. Y'all ready? We're gonna hop into it, man. You ready? We're gonna get into it early. We're gonna go ahead and hop into it. You feel me? I am your host. What? Mickey J. the Analyst. AKA The Man.
Cut that bitch off.
With the big hands, you feel me? And you are watching the Gangsta Gentleman Podcast. This is part 2 to Restraint and Trauma. Listen, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk, baby. You understand? Now, on the previous episode, we talked about certain origins of where pain and trauma can start and why, you know what I mean, not having proper restraint could influence how people view you, distance between people that you care and love, just the day-to-day battle that it is for somebody who doesn't have as much restraint to try to just be calm, cool, and collective in situations that most people probably would be. And we also dove in and talked about, you know, so there are positives and there are, just like there's negatives to anything. And sometimes it's necessary to lose restraint in certain situations. But you got to be prepared for the label that gets put on you, depending on the scenario that you put yourself in to lose that restraint. And plus, when certain traumas start to show and veer their head in certain scenarios, you got to be aware of how much of the lid you taking off, you loosening it up for some of that to come out. Sometimes it can come out on the wrong person's balls.
What do you mean by that?
So, we just talked about a lot. If you missed the first episode, I highly recommend you go see the first episode before you view this, so you can get up to speed with what you need. You understand? Because I got knowledge and I'm here to feed. You understand? Yeah.
Shit like that.
So,
shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Let's go ahead and pick back up where we left off. So, like I said last time, I talked about my little brother Gizzy to give y'all a visual to scenario. I'm a very visual person, so I try to give real scenarios when need be and able to give you the visual of how things can look when it's an actual character tied to a story. So, okay, this episode we're gonna talk about more in depth trauma. See, we more so talking about restraint and splash trauma throughout it, but we're going to talk about this trauma. You understand me? Because some people don't know how to identify within themselves. Facts. And this is the episode that we're going to do it.
Let's go, champ.
So, okay. Trauma. By definition, trauma pretty much means a deeply distressing or disturbing experience, right? And sometimes that comes with physical injury. So let's expound what that means. Let's expound and break down. You understand?
Let's talk about it.
Distressing. You're only under distress once you're put in a stressed situation. Let's make that very clear. You're only under distress when you're put in a stressed situation. Whether it's relationship, kids, you know what I mean, loss of a family member, job situations, friends, foes, beef, just a plethora of things that would cause you not to get proper etiquette or lose appetite. Distress. That's pretty much what breaking that down to some of the things that come with distress. Because mentally, it starts mentally before it starts any other place. Once you're under distress. Because distress is just something that stays with you that you can't let go. You understand me? So, let's just talk about the number one, the common one that causes distress. Death. Death causes a lot of distress. Let's talk about how important death is to trauma this episode as we continue to deep dive.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
There are a lot of things in life that a strong person can take. You understand me? I've seen people lose, you know what I mean? Just the things that are closest and dearest and most sentimental to them in materialistic value and just sentimental value. I've seen people put themselves in a situation where they lost everything, including families that they built. I've seen just like a slew of things that take strength to rebuild and regain. You understand me? But the hardest thing to do is lose somebody that you cherish and you love and you thought you had more time with and have to adjust to life without that. Just like that. Here today, gone tomorrow. And this is the messed up part about death. We can watch somebody suffer and know that their time is limited. But when you love somebody so much, it's a piece of you that just sees the strength in them that you just know they're going to fight. And they're going to pull through. And what happens when they don't? You get stressed and it causes distress. Because this is the realest thing about death. Just because they're gone and everybody else might have accepted it, that don't mean it's that easy for you. See, it's a lot of people who walk around this world right now damaged because they done lost a mom, a dad, a favorite uncle or auntie, a sibling. You know what I mean? Maybe a best friend, a child or children, nephews, nieces that were like theirs, grandparents. And these are not just regular people. You can't just replace certain people. These are significant factors to who their identity is. And what happens when some of these people leave and you never got to tell them thank you or I'm sorry or, you know, make amends with a relationship that wasn't probably on the best terms? Facts. What happens? When you got to go through life knowing that you don't get those opportunities no more. And then you got to get out here and try to find happiness. Or be happy. More so. What happens when you're in a real situation with somebody and somebody's trying to love you and they don't know how. Because the reality is this. Somebody can love you to the degree that they know how and that they feel it should be accepted for you to move on. But it's hard battling with the love of a ghost. Some of y'all have allowed yourselves to fall into such a mental place of just pain that when it's time to snap out of it, everything else around you done left. Because just because you want to stay mentally stagnant on pain that hurt you, that doesn't mean nobody owes you their time that they have left to be progressing, to keep. It's not somebody else's place to mend wounds they didn't create. Death is going to happen. Death is promised. It just sucks when it's somebody that you didn't want to die, or that you felt like you couldn't live without, or that you didn't understand why it happened the way it happened.
Facts.
See, when death occurs, we celebrate life, right? And in a nutshell, it's a contradiction. Because why does it take death for you to be celebrated so heavily? You see, we got to start loving people now. We got to start being real with people on how we feel with them now. We got to start building and uplifting each other now. We got to start seeing people and understand that certain things ain't worth ruining whatever relationship y'all got, and just learning how to keep certain words at bay and just get to the love part. Because when people die and you didn't get a chance to get a certain time out of life that you thought you was gonna get with them, that hurts. And not only does that hurt, that can put you in a very distressful situation mentally. See, I learned at an early age when I lost my uncle, one of my favorite uncles, man. And he was one of those uncles. He wasn't like just an uncle to me. He was like a dad. R.I.P. my Uncle Tink. Love you, boy. So when my uncle died, I was like maybe 13, maybe 14. And I remember before he had his surgery that put him in whatever situation he had to be in mentally. And I just remember him saying how much he just kept telling everybody how much he loved them. He just kept telling everybody, like, you know what I mean? Because he thought what he was doing so he could have more time with his kids. Little did we know it would put him in a situation where he would be in so much discomfort that he would potentially not be in his kid's life. And he's one of those people in the family who was just like, he was just like a top tier, respected person in my family. And not only was he just respected, bro, my uncle was crazy about me. My uncle would fight my dad for me. I've seen him put his hands on my dad for me. You get what I'm saying? Not like just like, yo, man, you got to start being a better man, showing him. And that type of behavior always stuck with me. That's why I became have to protector. I became that because of him and my other uncles, because that's who pretty much taught them. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna pay my uncle like he was the best man in the world, but to me, you couldn't get no greater. I was a kid. My uncle was funny. My uncle motherfucking could cook. The nigga was he could fight. And more importantly, he was a protector. He was the person you call when it's time to bro.
Shit like that.
You understand me? Yo, somebody call T. You T pull up. Hey, listen, man. It wasn't even like that, big fella. You hear me? So, At a young age, when I lost him, I remember when I kissed him on the forehead for the last time. I kissed all my people on the forehead when they died. Interacting with dead bodies, for some reason, it was never spooky or scared to me. You know what I mean? When I love people so much that even in death, that love carries. So for the last time, when that's really my people, I kiss them on the forehead or the cheek. Every time. Everybody be looking at me like, damn. And then the other people will start kissing them and all that shit. Because sometimes it take everybody to see that, damn, that's real love. This motherfucker sitting there cold as ice. This motherfucker kissing him and all that shit. Like, damn, that's love. And I was taught that type of love. So, imagine me going through all this time in my life and him not getting to see me get to this point of adulthood. And I'm like, damn. I can only imagine how my uncles feel. I can only imagine how, you know what I mean, all the other elders in the family feel when the older they get. Because these aren't people that you don't get a certain age and you stop thinking about these people when it's real.
Facts.
So if you lost a mom or a dad, that's never going to go away. That's never going to go away. It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to. These people, if they were really what they were supposed to be in your life, I've said this before in the past and I'm going to say it again since we're talking about it, man. If you love a person enough to die for them, love them enough to live for them. Life got to go on. Life got to go on. There's no reason for you being in relationships with people and you can't function or love properly because you still dealing with death. You never gonna be happy. Regardless of how good you get it. Regardless of how good you got it. Regardless of how much somebody invests in you and try to build you up to a certain level, you don't deserve them because you can't get to the next step mentally.
Facts.
Certain things and certain things in life are going to happen. But as adults, we got to understand, like I said last episode, there's somebody watching us and how we handle things. And if we can't drop pride and ego to understand that, whatever happens with the next generation, that blood is on your hands. Especially if you know directly that you're responsible for the outcome of certain younger generations.
Shit like that.
Or assisting with certain generations that look at you for knowledge and love and protection and affection. It comes a time when you got to hold yourself accountable and understand, maybe I wasn't what I needed to be, or maybe I didn't get the time I needed to get, or maybe I didn't get to mend certain things to the degree that I wanted to, but guess what? That person knew I loved them. That person knew that I respected them, and more importantly, that person needs to understand that I'm going to get out here and I'm going to keep that legacy alive by being the best version of me, not the hurt version of me. You got to let certain things go in order to grow. And unfortunately, death plays a big part in it. Death plays so much of a big part in that it'll cost you everything that you built if you just sitting around every day miserable, distressed, and full of guilt. You understand? It's time for certain people to understand that it's inevitable. You're gonna meet the same demise one day, some way.
Facts.
And how would you want people to feel after you're gone? You want people to carry it the same way that you may have carried it, if this is you I'm talking to? You want people to walk around with anger and hurt and pain and, you know what I mean, just a clouded mind. Like, come on, man. It comes to a point where you got to be honest about real things. You can't change what's already happened. You can only adapt to life now. Regardless of how much you hurt. Regardless of how much pain you in. You got to adapt to what life is now. Right now. Because if not, it's going to pass you by and you're going to wonder why things that happen the way that you plan. You wasted so much time in your head that everybody else went on and got ahead and left you behind. So I'm telling you now, it's time in the most respectful way to try. Start this process of healing within yourself today.
Facts.
Start this understanding that life is not going to be the same, and I got to accept that for what it is, and I got to be the best version of me or for my kids or for my wife or for my husband or for my family or whatever situation you may be in. Because nobody's going to take time to fix you if you don't try. We all grown now. All right? Another thing is this. Domestic disputes. Or, certain SA situations. Been touched on or whatever. Let's start with domestic disputes. As a person that grew up around domestic violence, I would say this. You don't know how much that truly affects you until you become a young adult. And this is what I mean by that. Me, myself, I had good self-control. Because lucky for me, other than the people that I saw in domestic disputes who didn't have control, I was lucky enough to have a lot of men who had moral and conduct to drill that in my head that you a bitch if you out here hitting a woman, right? Like you a whole if you out here hitting a woman. Nigga, if I don't hear telling that you knocking a nigga out and I hear that you out here hitting a bitch first, I'ma show you what it feels like type shit. These are the type of niggas I grew up around. These were men to me, and still are. If I must keep it all the way of being with you, you need to be talked to like that as a young man and let yourself understand ain't nothing fucking cool about that, right?
Facts.
But let me tell you what's fucked up. What if I was to tell some of y'all that some of these people, men and women, who go out here and they get in relationships and they are the ones who are in these domestic situations, what if I was telling you that's fucked up, that they get a bad rap for what they were shown and they had to witness as kids? Or maybe they had to grow up fighting to make sure nobody did certain things to them throughout the night.
Facts.
So all they know is to protect themselves. In the moment they feel uncomfortable, they only know one way to handle it. And that's physically. Now, true enough, there's a lot of men and women who are over emotional, who feel like physical violence is the way, and it's not.
Nope.
But like I said, I grew up seeing physical altercations with people I truly and deeply love. And I knew once I got to a certain age, if it ever really happened around me, I wasn't probably going to handle it well. Because one thing I don't like is to see two people who look each other in the eye and say they love each other, who gonna do all this stupid shit, call everybody, get everybody involved, just to end back up laying up with each other the same night. See, once you understand, and let's make this very clear, that alone is signs of trauma. You know how much of a psycho you got to be to go out your way to do all this fighting and all this other crazy shit with the person that you said is yours, just to end up being an angel to him by the end of the day. We got to start calling a spade, man. We got to start calling a spade, man. Y'all be surprised how many men get beat on just like women by fucked up women who have been in very traumatic situations in their past, or just mental, chemically unbalanced, and just think it's cool to continuously be violent because they know they can have their way, because it's harder for men to be believed that they're being abused than a woman.
Shit like that.
You know how many men secretly go home to a lifestyle where they know they in the house with a devil. And they can't tell nobody because they don't want to feel less of a man. They don't want to get laughed at or picked on. And they don't want to be looked at as somebody who's weak. So they just sit there and take these beatings by somebody who isn't happy with who the fuck they are, or has these mental instabilities or chemical imbalances in their mind that just causes them to be the pure fucking devil to somebody. And even then, most men try not to be the aggressors. But the moment he fight back, he the problem. So you never know what people are going through behind closed doors. I had to learn that too. And as much as I would like to defend women for being in the domestic situations, these days, bro, it's a lot more aggressive women who put their hands on men than it is men who put their hands on women. And that shit needs to be addressed because that is a high level trauma that has not been fucking dealt with. And the fucked up part is this. What happens when you have a kid with this type of person? What happens when you have to really co-parent with an abuser?
Lord have mercy.
And nobody will probably believe you that this person is really putting their hands on you and it's not you, just because the marks that you might give defending yourself is more visible. See, it's a lot of trauma that doesn't get talked about. We already know men hit women, yada yada. That's been going on since centuries. But women have found a way to fight back, but this is the problem. Most of them don't have a real purpose. This is the thing. Let me say this to y'all women, and let me say this shit clear. If you feel like you gotta physically put your hands on a man to make him stop doing whatever it is he's doing, or make him do more of what he's not doing, or make yourself feel like you're dominant, more dominant than this man, you really got to fucking sit down and evaluate what the fuck is your deal. Baby girl, you are cooked, fried. Something ain't right. You done been through something that makes you exemplify this aggressive behavior, and you've normalized it. It's a lot more women monsters out here than it is men these days. These days, a lot of dudes really do try to take care of their kids. So I really don't understand where the domestic shit even would come in anymore. A lot of dudes want to be fathers versus to how it used to be. But the problem is the times have changed so much. People want to grow up so fast that when they get out here, they see how life really is. And if you're dealing with somebody older who life fucked over and they don't give a fuck how they fucking over you, all they gonna do is put whatever traumas off on you to make you feel lower than them so you can treat whoever trying to treat you like somebody like shit. And that goes for both men and women, that particular statement. You understand me? There's a lot of people who go through certain little traumas we've been touched on. And that doesn't come out until they get a certain age. For instance, there was this young lady I went to school with, right? She was very, very high level flirty, very promiscuous acting. Because it wasn't verified that she was actually promiscuous, but she was very promiscuous acting, right? If she tell you straight up, like, she'll walk up to you, she'll grab your meat. Jesus Christ. Fuck you doing? Clock. Here, handful of meat, clock. Buckle down on that motherfucker. And I pulled her to the side and I was like, yo, man, come your big freaky ass down, man. All you want to do is goddamn. And she won't trying to hear none of that.
Yikes.
What was she doing? This bitch turned into Mr. Krabs on me. Clow, 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 clow. That motherfucker was me, honey. You understand me? I'm out this motherfucker going Bruce Lee.
Nope,
Clow,
nope,
clow,
nope,
clow,
nope,
clow,
nope,
clow,
nope, nope,
clow,
nope,
clow,
nope,
clow.
nope.
Yeah, I started doing the robot on that bitch. I'm just a love machine. Yeah. I'm like, that motherfucker ain't that bitch from my best move. I'm just a love machine. And I work. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to bust a funny on that one. I mean, I've been serious this whole episode. I had to bust at least one funny. You hear me? That motherfucker goddamn turned me into a robot out of that motherfucker. Playing defense with a crazy ass. So, one day somebody pulled me to the side. Cause I guess she had like a little breakdown. I don't know what the fuck happened, bro. And I guess she just started like, yo. I guess she admitted to somebody she had got touched on. I don't know. She had an episode. That's how I took it. She had an episode. Aww. And I never forgot that shit. Because I was like, yo, it's crazy that something you didn't want turns you into that, making you want nothing but that. And I never forgot that. And mind you, I had a daughter. See, this is the thing, like I told y'all. See, I had a daughter. And when I realized, yo, I really got to watch who, what, and how. I you know what I mean? I raised my daughter in around certain people and knowing who really is what, because that was tough. And my heart went out to her. And like, cool motherfucking George. She the funny, freaky, all the shit hood niggas love. I'm not gonna hold you. She was motherfucker probably wasn't the cutest motherfucker ever. But you know what I mean? Motherfucker she was cool to be around, minus all the goddamn meat grabbing. Pause. Jesus Christ. So I'm sorry, the Mr. Krabs shit came out of my life. That motherfucking love machine came in and got here. Oh man. And shout out to you, baby girl. I hope life's going great for you, man. But when trauma shows, you can't control how that shit comes out. Cause like I told y'all last episode, the hardest thing to do is to pretend. It's hard to pretend like everything's okay all the time. It's hard to pretend like nothing's wrong all the time. It's hard to pretend like your feelings didn't get hurt or you weren't offended. And it's hard to pretend like people we love don't hurt us. For all y'all who find y'all strength or found y'all strength, this episode, this role's for you. You understand? So, it appears I'm going to have to give y'all a part 3. Because part 2 just won't do. We got more to talk about.